YouTube found community, T-Rex fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about T-Rex, Tanx, released after the Slider in 1973. This is an album for me that deserves way more respect and attention. This album, I feel like, just never gets talked about. Or let me rephrase that. Most of T-Rex's discography doesn't get talked about, but this one coming right after the Slider, you would think would have had like this massive appeal for people to just keep listening to it and playing it. And it was big when it came out and it did really well at the time. But like over the years, you either have Electric Warrior or the Slider. Those are most people's collections for T-Rex, and they're very happy with it. And there's no problem with that. They're great albums. But like this one for me, um, how do you better the Slider? You put out Tanks. This album is awesome. If you haven't checked this out yet, do yourself a favor, just pause my video and put on Tanks and dig into it, because if you love what he was doing on the Slider and Electric Warrior, you're going to love what Mark is doing on this one. He changes it up just enough that it's different, but it's still familiar at the same time. But there's enough things being shaken up. He's shaked things up enough that you're like, all right, I see where he's going this time. But I mean, it seemed like an impossible task. I mean, he was on top of the world when the Slider came out. Um, but the construction of the songs here goes to new places. His lyrics aren't just the whole, Apple James went down to the barbershop, and it's not that kind of stuff throughout the entire album. It's like you can grow as a musician and still be, hopefully, catering to the fan base that you have. If you love the Slider, you'll appreciate this one a lot. But it starts off with Tenement Lady, and cool false start before following into this classic Mark Bolan groove. That lyrical delivery, the chill, fun, wild lyrics. It's definitely something Slider-ish, if you will. Fans must have been stoked to hear this. If they had loved that album, putting this one on and hearing that must have just been like perfect. He's back. He's doing the same thing. He's not going to completely butcher his career, because so many bands can do that. Love the swirling acoustic guitar in the middle bit, cool effects on his voice. So there's already some changes happening with the first song. Rapids comes up next, and super crisp, clean production on this track. Whoa, but like just enough reverb at the same time. Incredible mixing job on this thing. The bass is rad on this track. Just a charged up rocker, storms along, excellent song. Mr. comes up next, and a very David Bowie-esque sax is on this thing. Love the bouncy piano, the slightly psychedelic feel that creeps in, and that keep on looking refrain is so catchy. Broken Hearted Blues comes next, and this is one of my favorites on the album. Love the acoustic guitars with the saxophones, great combo. And Mark's incredibly warm vocal. It's a total classic track. It's super short, but like it's short but sweet. It gets its point across, and that's it. And then you get shock rock, which is like sludgy guitar rock with those like 20th Century Boy drum slaps in the background, which should have been on this album. Love the chorus and vocal delivery. Total groove classic. Country Honey comes up next. The rock just keeps coming. It's got that descending riff, bluesy lyric arrangement. It just shreds along, but the acoustic bit in the middle is really cool to shake it up a little bit. And then side one ends with Electric Slim and the Factory Hen. This one's really cool. I mean, the bongos, the echo on the guitars, their strings. It almost feels like a Marvin Gaye song. It sounds like something that could have been on Let's Get It On, which is pretty cool. But the chorus is such a payoff. That repeating hypnotic phrase over and over again. It's an excellent track, so well performed. And again, just different enough where if you loved the Slider but want something different, so you're not getting Slider 2.0, this is a song that kind of proves where Mark was going. Side 2 starts off with Mad Donna and slow rock groove, man. I mean, that thing is so addicted, that sludgy slow rock feel, instantly catchy, classic song. Born to Boogie, another classic, slide guitar, tambourine, wild background vocals. It's one of those mission statement type songs. Just fun. Just a fun track. Life is Strange, backwards effects, warm harmonies from Mark, more acoustic guitars. A song about the weird things in life that can happen and just kind of dealing with it, or the great things. But it's really cool. I dig that one a lot. The Street and Babe Shadow, it's kind of a weird name for a song. Cool chords on this one, an unexpected kind of track. You know, the feel throughout this song feels kind of unexpected. Actually, that's not a bad word. It really stands out. It's hypnotic, it's repetitive, but it's a little bit, again, different from the rest of the album and from what fans would have known at that time. So good addition. Highway Knees comes next. Love the percussion, the strings, Mark's confident vocal, the way the guitar sings along with him. It's a song with depth and a little bit of sadness. I dig it. You know, it's good for the wave, if you will, of emotions on this album. And then Left Hand Luke. For this one, I kind of said there were barroom strings. Like if a quartet, a string quartet was playing in a barroom with a honky-tonk piano, it sounds like if Elton John and Bernie were writing a song for Mark Bolan. It's got that tumbleweed connection kind of feel. Sweeping epic kind of a closer. And a fitting ending, you know, kind of gives it this like travel kind of feel, which kind of harkens off the slider again, if you will. But here's the inside of the gatefold. And this is what they used to call the unit pack style back in the day. And this came with a awesome poster, which I'll show first. And that's the reason why I grabbed this thing. The vinyl's a little scratchy and does skip in a couple of spots, but the poster itself, I mean, come on. You just don't see that thing anymore. So cool. Not sure if I'll hang it up, but it's just awesome for now. And the record itself is on the old school Steamboat Reprise label. And you can see, look how scuffy that record is. Looks like someone like drove all over it, but it's as clean as it's gonna get, and it plays decently for what it is. You know, they made records differently back then. You can scuff up a record and it still would play pretty well. And you gotta remember too, record players back then, especially like younger people, they had cheaper ones, and the tracking force on those things was super heavy. So, you know, you probably would have been putting 5 to 8 grams on a record. So it's amazing any of these old things still work. But yeah, I love this album. I mean, I'm a big fan of T-Rex anyway, but this album continues what he was doing when he first started to pick up the electric guitar, just to see where it would take him. This one continues that ride, but with just enough differences and just enough things to shake it up to keep you interested, so you're not just getting the Slider 2.0, which wouldn't be a bad thing, but it's good to see him not just resting on his laurels and trying something else, and being confident at the same time, because it definitely works. So T-Rex, Tanx, 8 out of 10 for me, no problem. Excellent album. Tell me what you guys think about it in the comments below. I'm very curious to talk about some T-Rex with you guys. But thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.